Okay, can everybody still hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay, excellent. And if I start talking too fast, let me know. It's a trait we have here in Wisconsin. We like to say a lot of things really quickly. So let me know if I'm become incoherent at any point. Okay, so the title of this talk is Getting to Know the Swamp. We are the software assurance marketplace. Some people think it's an unfortunate name. I kind of like it. It gives us kind of a weird identity, which is kind of kitschy, I think. But basically, we're concerned about these software assurance challenges, right? World software-centric. Software isn't everything. There's a perception out there that not enough developers are trained to really build secure code. There's not a lot of exposure on the educational level of software assurance technologies or concepts. We need to be able to do this often and do it early and keep doing it all throughout the software lifecycle, software development lifecycle. Some consumers, and what I mean by consumers are people that will take our code and incorporate it into what they're doing. They need to be able to look at the quality of the software they're pulling off the web. If we're looking at open source, how do you really go in there and look at the quality of it other than doing a code review yourself? And then we're really looking at some of the tool developers, not just static but also in dynamic. Looking at where do you go to evaluate that? Where do you go to get the standard packages to test with the known vulnerabilities to make sure your tool is detecting what you want it to detect? And then another big problem is that not one assessment tool will find every bug, all right, every weakness that's out there. Each one has their strengths, of course, but nothing's good at everything. And as most of you probably know, just keeping these tools updated and configured and getting them to work can be really time-consuming. And our opinion is that it's so time-consuming people don't do it because they want to be writing code, not playing around with some tool that may give you dubious results. So that's kind of what we're about here. So there we go. So here's our goals. This is why the swamp came about, was because all of these issues have been out kind of swirling around and not being addressed. So we want to simplify being able to use analysis tools for you to do your continuous software assurance. That's what we're about. Be able to give you integrated assessment results when you need them and where you need them so they're understandable. Make it easy to do. Lower the obstacles. Being able to say, hey, I can just upload this to the swamp. I can set up standard runs. Every time I do a new commit of code, it will automatically download and be able to give me assessment results on the tools that I want to use. So I don't have to mess with it a lot. We want to be a resource. We want to also be a place where you can come and improve your security assessment tools. What's nice is that you can now take your tools, run it against multiple packages that have this, the standard packages. In our case, we're using a lot of stuff from the United States National Institutes of Standards, and run your tools against that and see if your tool is working correctly. The big thing for us really is the do it early, do it often. This continuous software assurance cycle is really what we want everybody to be doing, and we're trying to make sure that we're easy to use and that we're a really good resource for everyone. Of course, fostering more secure deployed software, which is really kind of the basis behind the money we're getting, and we'll go into that in a little bit. Integrate, secure software coding practices in the classroom. We're doing a little bit of that. We're working with 3 universities here in the United States, and they're actually using the software assurance marketplace or the swamp inside their coursework to teach continuous assurance, which is really exciting for us. Maybe be a place to allow users to collaborate and share, what they're doing and some of the products that they've got out there, and be able to serve as a testing and evaluation ground. So you got a new tool, bring it out here, run it against all the standard packages that we maintain and we keep updated, and see how it's working. That's what we're about. We're here to be a service. We're operational since February 2014. In that time, we've really expanded and really improved from our initial offering. We're really very proud of it right now. We're basically funded by a 5-year grant from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. And we're a joint effort of 4 research institutes. The Mortgage Institute for Research, who me, Abe, and Allie are all members of, and we're the actually the prime contractor. University of Illinois Urbana, and they do our identity and access management. University of Wisconsin-Madison, they're like our tool gurus. Okay, they work the framework, they understand the tools, the languages, platforms, and then we use the Indiana University for cybersecurity and support. All the swamp is hosted here in our secure data facility at Mortgage. Mortgage Institute is a private nonprofit research institute. So we're not affiliated with the government. We're not part of the University of Wisconsin. We are a private organization that is nonprofit, and so that gives us a lot of leeway in how we can do things. Our principal investigators here at the Mortgage Institute is Marone Livney at the University of Illinois, Jim Basney, and Bart Miller is our chief scientist at the University of Wisconsin, and Von Welch is at the Indiana University. He's our CISO. All right, so this is the current state of the swamp, and we're constantly expanding. This is not our end state. We're constantly looking for new things to put in the swamp, looking for new capabilities that people can use. It's a lot of work to get all this stuff into the swamp so it works easily and without any issues. But right now we support 4 programming languages: C, C++, Java source code, Java bytecode, Python, and then we can also, if you consider Android a language, yeah, sort of. We do support 10 platforms, 9 varieties of Linux right now, plus Android. 12 static software analysis tools. Right now we're just strictly doing static analysis. We plan on adding capabilities to do dynamic analysis here probably in the next 6 to 8 months, hopefully. The tools we're using right now for C, C++, you can read those. I won't read those off for you. Of course, Java. New additions are the Python tools, PyLint and Bandit, and then AndroLint is also one of our tools. Now, what's exciting is we're getting agreements with commercial tool vendors to be able to use their tools, because of course, you know, the open source tools that we listed before are, you know, they're open source, so they may not get all the love that they need all the time to, you know, make them better and improve them. So we've got on board Parasoft, we have Grammatech, we have Red Lizard out of Australia, and Veracode to all 4 of them are going to bring their tools into the swamp for open source developers and educators to use for free, which is really exciting. So now you can integrate the JTest and Parasoft with all the Java tools and see how they compare. Same thing with the C, C++. So right now we just have the 2 Parasoft tools, which is the C, C++ test and JTest, that are available on the swamp to be used. Now, if you're looking at, actually, we'll go into a little later in the slides on kind of our deployment schedule that I have out there. We try to plan about a year out as to what specific tools and capabilities we're putting in the swamp, and when you see it, you'll see it's really quite a lot. We've got a lot going on and keeping us very, very busy. Now, if you're a tool developer and you want to come into the swamp, or even if let's say you want to come in and test JTest from Parasoft, and you want to test to see how well you think it works. Is it going to find some of the standard errors out there? We have 400 plus software packages that are available from the National Institutes of Standards here in the United States. There are the Juliet and the SATE test suites for both C, C++, and Java. So once again, we have curated packages out there with known vulnerabilities that I can run against any tool to test that tool. So whether it's one of these standard tools or one of the open source tools, or whether it's a tool you're developing, we have the resources here that are maintained, and you know that they are good because they will work on our system, and they're there for you to use. And so we maintain all these supported platforms, all the tools, all the packages, constantly being maintained. This is not a, okay, we've put we've got Red Hat Linux 64-bit in, and now we're done. Nope, we keep going in and making sure the latest security upgrades are in there, make sure that the latest operational version is loaded and ready to go. So yeah, we're very committed to making sure that this is the best it can be at all times. All right. Now, what's exciting and what's really nice about the swamp is, when you use a analysis tool, it's going to spit out its results in whatever format they feel they think it's going to be in. So you have to now sort through all that code and look to see what the analysis results apply to what line of code and what does this really mean. And it's not a standard answer. It's not a standard CWE. What we have is something called CodeDX, which is a open source tool viewer, assessment result viewer from Secure Decisions here in the United States. And so what it gives you the capability of is, let's say I run a Java package against 5 Java tools. It will take all those assessment results, put them together, so you can look to see what weaknesses were found and how those weaknesses map across all 5 of the different tools. Right, so that's going to really help us now to get rid of the false positives, get rid of the false negatives, and really give you a sense of, is that weakness really a weakness, or is it just something that all these tools, it's the way I talk in code. And CodeDX is very powerful in that it will list your weaknesses found by the CWEs, by the common weakness enumerations out there, and you can see by line of code what CWE specifically applies to that problem. Click on that, and that will now take you to the database of the CWEs to tell you what that specific vulnerability is and how you can mitigate it. So that's very exciting, and it's really a great piece of functionality we have in the swamp. So we're liking that. We recently added support for GitHub identities, so if you're in GitHub, you can use that authentication now to be your swamp login. So you don't have to go through all the login process. Just say, I'm already in GitHub, here's my identity, and we say that's great, you're verified. Just use your GitHub identity to come in each time. We're working on uploading packages from repositories. We can do it manually at this point. Now we're looking at getting that automated. Can we do automated? No, not yet. Well, we're looking at automating it, so when you have a change to your code base in GitHub, we will have a hook there that will say, oh, the code changed, let's grab it and run an assessment. Of course, that's only if you set that up, but we will have that capability. We're also working on, along with that, pulling packages from other public repositories that are out there. And that's a little more work. Each one is a little different, but that is something that's on our game plan to get done. The next line really is just our computing capabilities. We have over 700 cores, 5 terabytes of RAM. I think we're probably about 10 right now. We keep upgrading that. And over 104 terabytes of hard disk space. We do offsite backups. We use the industry-leading networking technologies to make sure that our site is secure. We have 24/7 monitoring for any kind of bad behavior. A lot of it's automated, but we do have 24/7 support that is continually monitoring to see if there's something bad going on in the swamp. Our big thing is to make sure that your data, your code that you write, is secure. No one else can get at it. Not even my administrators. I have like 2 guys that can get in there actually and see your code if they get permission from myself or one of the PIs to do it. We really are taking that to heart, that you want to make sure your code is secure from anybody getting it. We even have a guarantee, as much of a guarantee as can be from the U.S. government, that their intent is not to come in and take that code. And we've got a commitment from Mortgage to fight the U.S. government if they say, we need to get the code from Jim Beam here because we think he's doing something naughty. It's like, no, you can't have it because this is the agreement. We have a privacy policy out there and a confidentiality policy that lays it all out, what we're willing to do to ensure that your data is secure. Well, let's see here. So our audience really is software developers, tool developers, software assurance tool researchers. These are like our team over at the UW. Infrastructure operators. So if I'm an infrastructure operator, some guy says, hey, I found this great thing, it's going to help us out, it's open source. I can say, well, hang on a second. Let's run it through the swamp. Let's see if there's any vulnerabilities, see if we have anything to worry about. Do that sort of thing, kind of an assurance end for the, if you're bringing different code in. And then, of course, the educators and students. So we have a very broad audience. We're open for everybody. We're no cost. Anybody in the world can come use us. We're agnostic. We don't look at your code. We don't care what you're doing, just as long as you're not trying to set a World of Warcraft server up inside our network. We're good with having you in and doing what you need to do. All right, so basically these are kind of the key attributes that we want in the swamp, right? We want to be highly automated. You know, if you can compile your tool in the swamp, everything else is automated, meaning once the build is done, the submission into our secure sandbox, the running of the job, the results parsing, the getting the format correct to look at code DX, to get into code DX so you can really look at it, or even looking at our what do we call it, the viewer, the native viewer. Even looking at just the native code and results back, you can do that. But it's all automated. We'll send you an email, say, hey, it's done. And you come click on it, say, I want to view it in this, and up it pops. It's really very simple. Like I said, we do some very strong sandboxing. We use every execution of any assessment on your code is done in a single-use virtual machine. We package it up, put it in our sandbox, it runs, and we delete everything except the results. So it comes back, and all you have left now are the results, your code base, and the triplet, the package, tool, and platform that you use to build it, and that's all that's there. Now, you can be extremely private in this, saying that I want to bring my code in, I don't want to share it with anybody. Once you bring your tool or your data or your application in, it's private until you say it's not private. We want to be open, lots of tools, lots of apps. We're looking at some anonymized assessment data. Being anonymized means it's not tracked back to your code you've written, it's not tracked back to who you are, who you are as in, putting it in and doing it. But it's kind of the things that we're finding these CWEs, we're trending along, we're getting a lot of, buffer overruns, and that seems to be the new trend. That sort of thing is what we're looking at. More stuff to make the ecosystem better than to, judge what you're doing with your data. Once again, we're a resource. We're software here to help make your job easier. And we do have people to advise you, not necessarily on how to mitigate any vulnerabilities you have, but that is part of, like I said, the code DX, that you can look at the CWE and generally see how to mitigate it. So we have that as part of the swamp. And once again, we like to be a community. We want to, join and leverage other like-minded users online and in person. And along that end, we have submitted to become an OWASP project. So the swamp will be part of OWASP. And we're hoping after the 5-year grant is done that we become part of OWASP, that we become a major part of OWASP, and they're supporting us and we're supporting the community. So that's really what we're hoping is going to happen here in the future. So let's look at some of the use cases. Okay, we talk a software developer's goal. Hey, we want to do it easy. I want to do it early, and I want to do it often. It's that whole continuous assurance idea. And it's going to help you now develop code that's consistent, stable, reliable, and maintainable. Ooh, I read the slide. So the big part of it, once again, is we want to make this as easy and as safe and as a great experience so that you keep doing it every time. So if you have that automatic commit, when I commit my code into the repo, that the swamp will automatically download it, test it, and send you the results. And make it stupid simple. It's like that extra assurance guy that's in the back room is going to be helping you out, and that's what we kind of want to be. So this is what Swamp can do. Once again, we will automate building the packages on the Swamp platform. You don't have to worry about having all the different operating systems out there on your machine to be able to test your software. We do all that for you. Okay. Automate, any of the assessing the software packages, kind of analyzing the results inside our Code DX platform. We're also looking at adding another one called ThreadFix from the Denim Group, which is in San Antonio, United States, to the Swamp here probably in the next 3 to 4 months. We'll give you another option of a viewer to use. But really, viewing integrated multi-tool results, because it's a hard thing to do, to take all those raw results out of each one of those tools and then kind of make any kind of sense out of them. We're looking at doing some data analytics for software engineers. Absolutely, as I've said before, protecting the privacy of your results, and getting free access to commercial tools. We have 4 lined up right now. We're actively out there trying to get some of the bigger ones. We may even have a chance to get Coverity in if we can make them a little happier. But HP Fortify, we've kind of talked to them a little bit. There's Checkmarks in Israel that's interested in coming to the swamp. Acunetics out of Malta, I believe, we've talked to. So we've got limited bandwidth on what we can do, but they're in the wings, and I know they're very excited to come to the swamp and offer their tools free to the open source development community and the educational users. So, okay, so tool developers' goals once again: find more weaknesses, and reduce your false positives. Increase the user base for their tool, because everybody wants their tool to be used, right? So if you can come to the swamp and improve your tool so people say, no, that it really is a great tool, that's fabulous. And it helps, not only helps you as a tool developer, but it helps us because now we have a better tool for everyone to use. And, we use the swamp to showcase the tool as part of our, assets that we have. Capabilities, once again, for the tool developers. A tool developer is a software developer. We're going to assume that they're going to run their tool, through some of the assessment tools we have just to make sure that their code is correct. I mean, it's code, just like anything else. We're hoping to have automated building tools on the Swamp platforms. It's a little different when you're actually trying to get the tool to run. But like I said, we have the real-world packages, synthetic test cases. We're here to make sure that tool gets developed and gets developed right. So, and hopefully people will be bringing their new tools to the swamp, be developing them, improving them, and then make them available to other swamp users, even on just a trial basis. Just say, hey, I've got my 10 friends that are on the swamp. I'm just going to invite them to test my tool and give me feedback. And that's something we can provide. Of course, the infrastructure operator, I got supply chain problems because nobody's writing code now well, I'm not going to say nobody. Most people are not writing code that doesn't reuse some other code from somewhere, right? So how good is that code? Do we know if there are weaknesses in it we have to worry about? That's really what we're about. And so what's nice as an infrastructure operator, somebody brings me an open source package, I could run it through the swamp, and now I have those assessment results saying, yes, I assessed this package, and I looked at the weaknesses that were discovered, and I feel that these are not a threat. Or I've looked at it, we're not going to use this because I found these weaknesses inside the software package. That's really what we're about with talking about an infrastructure operator. So infrastructure operators, well, call it myself. My programmers come in and say, hey, we got this really cool thing we're going to add to Jira, and I'm like, well, I don't know, run it through the swamp. Let's see if it's good enough. This is going to cause us problems. And, then they come back and say, oh, no, yeah, we did find this error. So me as the infrastructure operator, I feel good now that I'm not bringing some unknown software with unknown vulnerabilities into my shop. So basically, the capabilities for infrastructure operators, third-party assessments. So we provide the assessment evidence that, yes, I assessed it, and here's the assessment. Here's the date it was run. Here's the tool I used. Here's the platform I ran it on. Okay. We're looking at doing subscriptions to continuous package assessments. By that we mean some of the open source libraries that are out there. Being able for us to go through with spare cycles in the swamp and just pull the open source packages off, do an assessment, and then post that assessment to the repository that package is at. So I can go and say, hey, oh, look at this great package. It says it does this. Well, this is what Swamp says. Let me look at the vulnerability or weakness report, and I say, oh, no, I guess it looks good. He's written a really good piece of code. Or, look, oh, he's got this really bad weakness in here. I don't even want to touch it. And I'll do that without having to download that code and run it yourself. So that is some future capability we're hoping to have. We've got another, 2.5 years here. So we have a lot of stuff that we're going to get done and really make it really usable for everybody. Right, so this is a big thing for us. Run the tools early and run them often. Okay, build an assurance from day one or a task becomes overwhelming for the programmer. And that's our mantra right there. Do it early, do it often. All right, so as for OWASP, we've been a member since 2013. We did apply to be a project. On GitHub, our user ID is MirrorSwamp. We are right now in the final processes of cleaning our code up to make sure that we have good code, and we're going to put the actual swamp source code out on GitHub for everybody to look at. Give us comments, give us feedback, but we are open source like we need to be. We want to be totally open about how we do things and how we run the swamp. The third bullet there is pretty much like we like to say, we eat our own dog food, right? We run our own code through the swamp. So when we do something, we run it through the tools that we have running. We're going to release the software on the Apache 2 license. And once again, no-cost software assurance resource. The commercial tools that are available to open source developers at no cost, support for multiple tools. We're vendor neutral. We don't care who you are. Matter of fact, CodeDX and ThreadFix, who will be coming to Swamp, really are competitors. But they're working together to come into the Swamp to make the Swamp open and usable for more people. And so we're really hoping that once we become a project within OWASP, that we're going to get a lot of interaction out of the OWASP community to help us make the Swamp what you guys in the field need it to be. We're here in Madison, Wisconsin, and we've got some definite ideas on stuff, and we get some feedback. But OWASP is a huge organization of open source developers and people worried about open source security. So you're the ones that need to be giving us the feedback and telling us, hey, this is what the Swamp needs to do next. So we're hoping to get that really going. All right, some of the recent news and developments we've done once again. Code reviewed for open source. We should have that out here in the next couple of weeks. We do have support for using GitHub for Swamp access and pulling package from public repositories. We're working on that. Commercial tools. We just added Python. Moving into the mobile code now with Android. Newest version of CodeDX. And then one thing we did more for the education end was a no build option. If you're a brand new programmer and just learning programming, sometimes building a job is a little too difficult and honestly doesn't really need to be done because of the level of code you have. So we have a no build option to make it easier for students to really come in and use the Swamp and get the idea of continuous assurance. All right, here's our development timeline. This is really what I'm looking at. This was last year, our calendar year 2014. You look at the beginning, the IOC there to the left, that's our initial operating condition. And in that, we were able to do C, C++, and Java. We had CodeDX, and then those were the 5 initial tools that we run, and they're all static analysis tools. As we move forward, you see we did a lot of work really bringing the Swamp to where it needs to be. So now we can start bringing in some new capabilities. And you look in the third quarter, interactive virtual machines, that's what the IVM is. GitHub authentication we added. Now as you move forward, we added Python, the Parasoft JTest, CTest, automated Git repository tools. And if you look along the bottom, that is the version of the software. So what we're doing right now is every month we're doing a update to the Swamp. Once again, want to keep it fresh, wanting to keep it useful. So if you look at 2015, it gets even busier. You'll see in March, we're looking at having the Code Sonar tool from Grammatech. Actually, Flake 8 has already been installed. We were a little early on that, so that's really nice. It's going to actually be installed this next Tuesday on in our release version 1.15. And then we're working on getting some plugins out there for some of the various IDEs. We're kind of slowing down on that a little bit because we want to make sure that we have a very good API for them to talk to. And so we're really developing an API to allow you, if you have a process or an IDE that you want to be able to submit jobs, through to the Swamp, not through the front end, that you're able to using an API. ThreadFix in the next quarter. Veracode, the Goanna tool from Red Lizard, which is a C, C++ tool. We're looking at the ability to make results public, so if you have a result that you want the entire world to see, there'll be a button to click and say, make this public. and there will be a repository out there that any user in the world can go look at to see the assessment results that you want to release out there. We're looking at bringing in iOS here in the next quarter, and then Mac OS, and then we'll start looking at the Windows operating system with .NET. And hopefully in the third quarter, possibly push to the fourth quarter, actually having some dynamic analysis tools inside the swamp. And you can look yourself to see. We try to get a new commercial tool every quarter if possible. A new some sort of new reference tool, some sort of new open source tool out there. And we're also looking now at the new static analysis and new dynamic analysis tool every quarter. And here's 2016. Some of the bigger things: software package subscriptions, exploiting vulnerability database, and doing some hybrid analysis right at the end of 2016. But that, like I said, that's good over a year out, so that could morph a little bit. So that's kind of our, like I said, we deploy every month. And in that, each month, we try to make sure that if there's an update to a tool, we get that update in. There's a new tool that we're ready, that we bring it in. And we do actually do a very good, thorough testing. We probably do about 3 weeks in development and then a week of integration testing before we actually bring it in live. So, and then in the live swamp, the production swamp, we actually do regression testing all the time to make sure the swamp is up and running and doing what it's supposed to do. We feel it's a very robust system at this point. And just a list of the release dates that we're looking at through October next year. Correction, October this year. Well, basically our short-term vision right now, as you saw from the functionality by release slides we just looked at, course user interface improvements. In version 1.15, which comes out next Tuesday, we kind of revamped our entire user interface, and that is Abe's doing, and it's really, really improved the functionality of the swamp and actually the usability of it. I'm very impressed with what Abe's done. He's done a really good job on it. Right, Abe? The commercial tool integration, once again, Code Sonar, Guana, SAS with Veracode. We're looking at the plugins once again, getting a really good, robust swamp API. Addition of dynamic analysis testing, and then offering the ThreadFix vulnerability management tool. What's nice about ThreadFix, it not only does static analysis, but it also looks at the dynamic analysis tools and will integrate the two results. CodeDX is strictly a static analysis tool viewer, so the ThreadFix is going to once again offer some additional functionality inside the swamp. Something else we're looking at is the ability to bring external results in. As long as we can parse them into our standard format, you should be able to bring in a result from another tool into the swamp, load it into CodeDX or ThreadFix, and then add it to the menu of tools that you've used to analyze a piece of code. Long-term vision. The kind of the most interesting one, I think, is that last bullet, is really the deployment of local private swamp installations for sensitive software. So if you have an IT shop and you're writing software and you say, oh, you know, the swamp is really great, but I don't want to be loading my code into the cloud for, who knows who's going to get at it. We hope to have a version of the swamp that you can load even on your desktop. And in that version of the swamp, you will have all the open source tools that the swamp currently has, along with the viewers, the assessment result viewers, so CodeDX and ThreadFix. Our plan is hopefully to be able to, once again, have it deployed, be deployable sometime in 2016. We are putting an open source version out, but really it's just, at this point, just viewable because a lot of it is really tied to the hardware here. So we have the Illinois team is working on being able to divorce the code we've written from the actual hardware we have, so you could take a version and load it on your desktop and run it. So that's something we're kind of excited about, and the hope is that any results that you have in the open swamp, our swamp, that if you have an internal swamp, you'd be able to take those results and port them back and forth between the different swamps without any issues. That's kind of a hope we have. So that'd be very neat. All right, now we got just I'm not sure if we're gonna be a demo, but really we're just gonna look at some screenshots here. More of a welcome to the swamp. You sign up. You can sign up with GitHub and go down to the sign in. You know, if you search GitHub, you can search GitHub actually for your username to bring it up. Then you sign in with the username or email and password, and then we just ask them, basic information to make sure that you are who you are, and we're securing your data. Hey, do you want to talk about this stuff?
Sure. So the first thing that you're going to want to do when you use the swamp is probably to upload your own package. And so this is showing the new package screen. Basically, you're going to point it at an archive file of your source code, which is probably a tar or zip file, and then you're going to upload that. In order to run the code through the tools, there's some basic information that you're going to need to provide about like where the make file or other build file is for your source code. But that should be pretty straightforward. If you run into any difficulties, we're here to help you with that. And also, that's why we provide a library of existing packages. So if you run into some difficulties getting your own package to work, you could take a look at some examples just to see how they're set up in terms of the build file and sort of paths and those types of system settings. So once you have a package, the next step is to create an assessment. And so to create an assessment, you need to specify essentially three things: the package to assess, the tool to assess it with, and then a platform to use. And then for platform-independent languages like Java and Python, you basically all you need to specify is the package and the tool. You don't need a platform. For one of the capabilities of the swamp is to be able to run runs that occur periodically, such as once a week or once a month or on a recurring schedule. And so we have this this ability to set up recurring runs. So once you actually run your code through a tool, you're going to get what's called an assessment result. And so there'll be a screen like this, which is basically just a list of the results. It'll have a status which says whether it's finished or whether it's in the process of running or whether there were some errors. And so you're going to click these little checkboxes to select one or more results, and then click on either CodeDX or Native to select a viewer, and it will pop up a view of the results. And this shows what that looks like. It's basically sort of a big long list of all the issues that it found, along with some information about severity and sort of a basic description of it and where it was in the code base. So that's basically the process that we have right now. This will look a little bit different in another week or so with the new UI, but the basic process of creating packages and assessments and looking at results is the same. So yeah, so that's the end of our PowerPoint. And so I was wondering if we're going to go to questions next.
Sure, yeah, but this is our contact information. Once again, we have 24/7 support. Don't expect it at midnight Central Time that you can pick up the phone and talk to somebody who's fully knowledgeable on of the swamp. What they'll do, though, is they will make sure that a ticket gets entered in the next business day. Somebody from the swamp team here will respond to it and get back to you, and we're here to help. Honestly, our programmers will drop everything and help you to get your package to run inside the swamp, or help you with any technical details you're having. And if you don't feel you're being helped, you can always get a hold of me, the project manager, and I'll make sure something happens. That's what I do.
The general swamp at continuousassurance.org is a good place to go to if you don't have anything specific going on, need more information, want to talk to us about something or other. Allie, tend to look at those, and Pat looks at those as well. So you can reach out to us for specific problems, or just connect with us in general, and we can help get you to the right place.
Or if you have new feature ideas, we'd love to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Any ideas for improvements or new things, that would be great.
All right, so I guess we'll open it up for questions. Oh, thank you.
Well, I think it's good, so maybe we should give a round of applause. I think you can hear us, right?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so thank you very much. And so basically, if you have any questions, you can just come like in the front row and stand up and just ask, because I think that, well, they will answer, and we have their screen, so basically they can show us maybe about all the stuff. So if there's nobody, I do have sons myself, so you can.
My question is basically, what can an open source developer do to help you, or where do you want us to focus? Is it more about submitting packages, or is it more about coding somewhere?
For an open source developer to give us a hand is to test the swamp, run your code through it, and tell us how it could work better. That's probably the biggest thing we would want out of anybody, to really just tell us what we're doing wrong and what we need to do right to make this useful for everyone.
Or is there a really great tool you've been using that we don't have that you think would be a great new addition? Let us know something that we have missing that you found, and we will see if we can put that into the swamp in the future release.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks. So any other questions? If not, I got a bunch of them. So I will ask mine, and if you have anything. Mine is really that, like, I'm really curious because, well, in this presentation we had a lot of announcements. Actually, people in the room didn't know, but well, probably didn't notice, but I did do notice that you basically announced that you submit your stuff for being an OWASP project, and this is a great news because we are working with Swamp within the OWASP projects. Basically, we scan every project we have with Swamp, but now that Swamp will be an OWASP project, you will more see it often. It's like the top 10 and stuff like that. Swamp will be part of that, and I'm pretty sure you guys will be accepted and probably move it real fast because I think your presentation shown that you have like a great like project management process, if I can say so. And I just wanted to ask, do you have like a demo UI of the new UI that you can show us by remote desktop sharing or something?
Sure, sure, I think we can do that.
First, let's.
And probably you can do like upload a package of some sort, just that people can see, because I did it myself, and it's really easy. Like all the screens they show you, it's like it does all the job that you need to do, you know.
Yeah, Abel, bring it up right now.
Okay, great. So this is like right from the source. Oh.
That's the current.
Okay, do you have a bookmark to me?
Yeah, I thought if you leak it, and people will see it online.
We're on my computer, and I don't have.
You don't have access. Okay.
I don't have access to the development site, but Abe's looking up. He may be able to.
Do you have a demo project that you can actually show us in real time, even if it's not the newer UI?
Oh,
here we go.
Here we go. Okay.
Okay, he's got it.
Oh, great.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Can you see the sign-in screen right now?
Yeah, we can see your username and we can see your password. No, that's it's dot. That's great.
Okay, so this is your main start screen, so you can see it gives you like a real clear view of sort of all the top level things that you'd be interested in.
And this is the new UI that we're putting in next Tuesday.
So you could see right here, here's all of your packages, and you could view them by package type. So you could see like all of your Java source packages, for example. Or say you could look at your assessments. So here you can see here's a list of the assessments I currently have and the number of results for each one. So I could click on the results view here and it will show me the results, the list of results for that particular assessment. Let's see. Scroll down. Scroll this. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, so there we go. You could see your scheduled runs.
Why don't you build an assessment real quick and fill them all?
Sure. So let's create a new assessment right now. So I would just say run new assessment, and I would choose a package. So what do we have here for Java packages? Maybe Clojure. And then you can see for Java, I don't have to select a platform, I just select a tool. So I would go down here to like Windows, for example. And I could just say save and run. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. What do we have here? Sure.
So we do have some shortcuts like for Java. Java is really platform independent, so we just run it on one platform, don't even give you a choice because it doesn't matter for Java.
Okay, so you can see it says that it's started, and it takes you right to the results view. And so you can see here, along with my past runs, is my new run here, which is, right now it says scheduled, and it goes through a couple different steps here, so you'll see it update as it starts. So basically, that's the process.
Now, the speed that the assessment run really is based on how many people are using the swamp. Because really, we queue them up using HTC Condor, which is a product of FOW, which is an open source scheduler. And really, depending upon where your queue is when your job's run. So if you have to load on the swamp, it may take 10 minutes just to get it run through the swamp. We do load metering to ensure we don't get any kind of race conditions or anything weird going on. It's part of our overall monitoring. But right now, you're performing the assessment in our secure environment.
Yeah, I think last time I was doing some performance tests, like it was taking 5 or 6 minutes.
I'll just select one of the completed runs and let's look at it in CodeDX.
Sure.
I think that'd be very helpful.
Okay. Now, the first time you view results, it takes a couple minutes to launch the viewer. But then after you view results, they should come up instantaneously. So that's why there's a little bit of a delay.
And this is something we're looking at. We have probably an idea that what we'll do is when you log into the swamp, the assumption is you're going to view assessments. So we will actually spin up a viewer as you're starting up in the swamp, so we will automatically just dump the results in there and it will really speed the process. Thinking.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you know it's right.
That doesn't run nearly enough assessments on his computer.
No, I don't. Okay, this might be like watching a paint dry.
So while we wait for the result, is there anyone that has like maybe another question or? They seem shy, like they're like all on their seat, and you should see that nobody moves. They don't dare. I think your presentation was really like I have like maybe 3 or 4 questions, and you actually answered it during the presentation. So I was like, yeah.
I have a question.
There's not much I can ask if you already answer in the presentation. So
I was wondering how many people are currently using software analysis tools?
Okay. Yeah, but is there anyone in the people like in the room that use the static tool? Well, not swamp exactly, but just a tool, right? That's what your question, right?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Do you use like tools? Yeah. Okay. There's like maybe 10 people at most, or maybe 40. So it's like a quarter of the people.
Oh, really?
Great.
Yeah. And we have the actually in the room we have the author of find the security bug that is in the room right now. I'm looking at it. Do you want to say something to some guys, or no? You don't. But he's in the room.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. That tools was actually from Montreal. I don't know if people know where the tools are actually from if you use open source, but we do know here. So update has failed, by the way.
Yeah, well, of course, that's you know,
That's the demo.
tell something it fails.
It's the main goal of having a live demo. That's why you add screenshots. So.
Yeah, exactly right.
And this is our dev environment still, so there's still room for a few bugs, right?
Yeah.
Do you have like a dashboard of some sort of an already like pre-crunch result that we can show?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you bring one up.
Because that's the only thing that I didn't saw from the new UI, because we went through the steps in order to make a scan is as easy as that.
Now this is this is an interesting project that we were looking at. I'm doing a presentation here at Morgridge, and we're a biomedical research institute, and the swamp is kind of something odd. But I'm looking at this. It's called Kamino. Really, it's, you see from the screen, it's a fusion MRI toolkit. So the idea is that, hey, if you're in the swamp, if you're writing medical device code, this is an opportunity now for you to test it and make sure that it works correctly. So if I look at these right here, inside the code, they come up pretty quick. There it is. Look at this analysis right here. There it is. So I ran this code against 5 different tools and found 25,000 different weaknesses. And you look at the severity over in the severity column, and there's some unspecified, some just info, some low, medium, a couple high. And if I look at the tool overlaps, that really tells me, kind of, do I have a real positive or a real negative here? So, two tools, if I just look at those, it gives me a nice filter here. So 834 weaknesses were detected by just 2 tools. In this case, PMD and I can't tell you, and FindBot. And then same thing, I filtered by 3 tools. PMD, textile, 5 bugs all found these different CWs here, 597, which actually is nice. I can click on them, and it'll tell me if there's things like that. So here it is. Using double equals or exclamation equals to compare strings only works if internal version is used on both sides. So it's saying this is the better way to do it. Use equals method. It comes right from the line of code somewhere. There it is, right there.
Yeah.
So that's where the weakness is right here, and then it looks at this. It tells you all the different things, different types of weaknesses that represents. So pretty neat. This is really a very neat tool to have here inside Kamino.
Excellent.
How's that?
Yeah, I said excellent because I'm looking at it. It's like, yeah, okay. I do see that everything is within the swamp, and you don't need like to go in other UI in order to view the results, because I didn't see that part with my test because I just run it and saw the result, but that dashboard is really cool because you can really see what line of code that actually procs for many tools and just not one. And this is really something that I'm not used to see, so it's great. It's great stuff, I think.
Yeah, this is really what our big user. And then it's nice to report a PDF, CSV, or an XML to export and do what you will with. So.
And so I don't know if you say in the presentation, but people who can just go and register, it's really quick and easy. So if you want to try it with any open source project, it's way fast to do. I did it with like one Java project from somewhere. So, and you can actually see result, and you don't have to bother because right now, if you want to try a static analysis tool, you need to set it up and all that stuff, and it's just easy if you have Maven and stuff like that. But if not, you have to install all the requirements and go fetch. This is really like an easy way ready for you to do like a revision of your code, and it's all doing it for you. So when it's easy, there's no reason not to do it for the other 3/4 of people in the room that answer that they don't use tools like this. So. Well, so I think I will actually conclude the stream. So I would like to say a real good, another round of applause for Patrick and the other gang at the Swamp. So thank you. And if you can show yourself on the webcam, so we can say bye-bye and I'll stop the stream.
Oh, let me see again.
Click on the left. Yeah, that's me. Can you?
There we go. Yeah.
Other side of the screen. Other side.
I don't know.
No, it's on now. To go link and click on the green thing.
Wait, it's coming.
Yeah, great.
All right, thanks everybody.
Yeah.